Hey, what's up, guys? Ryan Magin here with another awesome. I would say it's a muscle building interview because that's how, in fitness, is how I've come to learn of the gentleman you're about to hear from, Chris McCombs. But he's not really going to talk about building muscle today, although I'm sure fitness and strength training will come up at some point. But Chris is the owner of ChrisMcCombs.net, which is, there's not too many blogs that I read on a daily basis or whenever a post is published. I actually stop my day and just read whatever he has to say. And Chris's blog is one of them, and that's why I wanted to get him on the line today. So if you're listening to this, I highly recommend you check out ChrisMcCombs.net, or you can just listen to this interview. And Chris, I want to thank you for taking 20, 30 minutes out of your day to come on here and hang out and talk.
Hey Ryan, thanks for the introduction, man. Super cool of you, man. It's pretty humbling. Thanks, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. Well, I mean, just to get it rolling here. I hate doing the typical, this is who I am, this is what I do, but I want to know kind of what ChrisMcCombs.net is about. What are you trying? I mean, I know just with your writing, I know what you're passionate about, but who are you trying to reach, and how are you trying to help people just through your writing?
Well, it's the high concept of the site, man. It's kind of like Wayne Dyer meets Henry Rollins, mm-hmm. Or if people don't know who Wayne Dyer is, it's like Fight Club meets Tony Robbins. Mm-hmm. If so, it's like personal development, kind of with an edge. Personal development with some, with some rock and roll and some attitude. And it's just like me sharing with my bros. I mean, it's like you and I are having a conversation, and let's say there's something in life that maybe I've overcome and you haven't overcome yet. It's just me sharing you what's worked for me from a real place, man. I mean, I'm still learning as I go, and I write the stuff as therapy, man. Mm-hmm. It's I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life, and writing is how I process that stuff. And it turns it that it helps actually helps quite a few people. But I never know who it's going to reach, man. I mean, I thought I was just going to reach guys between age 25 and 45 who drove, had a truck and have tattoos and have a pit bull and listen to metal or hip hop. And you know what, man? It reaches all kinds of people. The analogy as I give is, when my favorite band is Stone Sour. One time one of my workout shirts I wear a lot, it says Stone fucking Sour. Mm-hmm. And I was just done with my workout at the gym. And I usually only like to wear that shirt at the gym because I don't like the kids to, I don't wear it at the store typically or something because it's got that big, fucking on it. I don't want little kids to see that or something. But I forgot to this day. And I go to the gym I go to the store after the gym, and I've got the Stone fucking Sour shirt on, and I'm standing in line, and this little old lady in front of me in line, I see her look up at me and look up at my shirt. And I remember, oh shit, I got the shirt on with this big F word on there. And I cover up the word. And I'm like, oh ma'am, I'm sorry. Don't look at that as a swear word on there, man. We make some nice talk, and she checks out, and then she leans into me before she leaves, and and this lady's probably 80 years old. She leans in and says, "Have a nice fucking day." Awesome. and that's kind of analogy for who my stuff reaches. I thought it was just going to reach kind of guys like me and you, but you know what, man? It reaches all kinds of people. I originally wanted to put out some kind of personal development / spiritual / kind of self-help stuff from my own journeys in life that I could share with with my bros in a way they don't normally hear it, because most of the people who are teaching this kind of stuff are either real woo-woo out in the ethers metaphysical stuff, which I like to read myself, but my friends don't like to read it, a lot of them, and it's not going to rate. Or it's like people with superhuman powers in the suit and the tie and the super nice haircut, and it's Tony Robbins up there teaching stuff from someone who you just look at the guy and go, well, yeah, he can do that, but I can't do that. So I wanted to reach stuff that would resonate with people like me and come from a place that's real and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. And it's funny you say you never know who your stuff's gonna reach, because I get humbled that there's almost 14,000 or so readers on my email newsletter, and when I send an email, that many people read it, and then so I'm just a normal guy who's into I just share my experiences, and that's what the same thing you do, and it's we never know who we're helping. I'm a big proponent of walking on a treadmill, and if one guy starts doing that, and next thing you know, a year later he lost 100 pounds. Like, I mean, and I was responsible for that. Like, I just humbled that people, you know.
And that guy might have been on the other side of the planet, and him doing that might have influenced his wife or friend or mother to do the same as well, and then they got in better shape and healthier, and they're influencing someone else. Plus, because they're exercising now, they're probably happier and they're being cooler to people. So that ripple effect, dude, goes all across the world in ways of people we will never fucking meet, never know, but it helps them, it helps people in their lives and the people in their lives, man. It's putting out good stuff that affects people all around the world, people you'll never meet, never know, and it blows my mind when I think about that, dude.
Yeah, and it's the age that we live in. It's just so awesome, and I mean, I think a lot of people take that for granted too. The amount of knowledge and the vast. I mean, with Google, everything's at your fingertips now. Like, it still baffles me that people go to college. You know, like just like with the amount of stuff that we have at our fingertips, and you take somebody who's just remotely self-motivated, they can just learn anything they want and do it through the internet.
Yeah, well, I think college is good for people if they want to go into the job world.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone's an entrepreneur, like most of the successful entrepreneurs I know, and both you and I know quite a few, and many of them, you know, making a lot more money than I do, making, you know, millions and millions, up in the tens of millions a year. Most of them never went to college. Right? Mm-hmm. Because the traditional educational system, it doesn't really train us how to free think and be creative and things like that. It just kind of conditions you to be a good little employee, which is cool. And I mean, my brother's head of business operations for Facebook, and he was executive vice president of business administration for Yahoo. And he did the whole college thing, you know, summa cum laude. And in the job world, it helps him. Right? He has very good careers in the job world, and in that world, college is an important part of it. But for guys like me and you who are out doing our own thing and you know, being entrepreneurs, I mean, I was, you know, an entrepreneur at age, you know, 17 or 18 selling weed. It's more of a hindrance for the entrepreneur, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've always like. I mean, when I was a kid in high school and middle school, like my mom would give me like $20 for allowance, and then I would go to the store and I'd buy as much candy as I could, and I would come and I'd have it in my backpack, and like I'd be getting like beat up for like people trying to steal my candy and like trying to just sell it on the side and make more lunch money, and like that's how I've always been. When I was always like a hustler type, manipulator type of guy who was always like selling shit. I'm like, yeah.
Dude, you know what I used to do when I was like 10 years old? I used to take pennies and I would smash them with a hammer and make them into what looked like a little plate, like a little doll plate. And I called them Holly Hobby plates, and I sold them to girls for a nickel. So I would take a penny, smash it with a hammer, and sell it for a nickel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what like I know you're big. I mean, and we met just because of fitness and strength training. But what role do you think? I mean, do you feel strength training plays in life, and why are you such a proponent of everybody strength trains? Because I know you have blog posts about training no matter what.
You talking, man? Just breaking up a little or something.
Oh, did it break up a little bit? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What was your question there, man?
I was saying you're a huge proponent of strength training and that's how we actually met.
Yeah.
But how do you feel that it relates in the world? Like, as far as why do you feel like everybody should train and do it no matter what? I know you write about that quite a bit.
Well, I don't know if everybody should train. I know I should train. I know that, for one, I'm way happier if I'm just exercising in general, right? If I'm not exercising, be it going for a walk, you know, down the hill. I take my dog out for this walk on the hill every day, like I was talking about with you, and go walking up that hill is one of my favorite ways to get a workout in, man. I love it. Or I'll get up and do 12 minutes of kettlebell swings, or I'll go to the gym and hit the weights. If I'm not doing some kind of exercise, I just don't feel good. I'll feel like shit. Once it gets over that 24-hour mark, and God forbid the 48-hour mark, I just don't feel good. And it's almost like I started working out like 20 years ago, but before I started, I'm old, dude. I'm like 43. Before I started working out, it'd been 25 years now. Before I started working out, I don't think I knew how shitty I felt by not working out. But once I start doing it, I'm like addicted to it. I think it's from the endorphin release for one. It's from getting rid of the extra and expending that extra energy to that kind of nervous energy. Because if I don't, man, I start shaking my foot like crazy. Like I'll do that, just sit there shaking my foot. Exercise helps me with that for one. Plus, it just feels good to be strong and to have a body that is capable of doing something. I don't like feeling weak. I can't stand that feeling. So I mostly do it to feel good. Secondly, I do it because it makes me feel like I can kick some ass if I have to. Probably can't kick as much ass as if I was out, doing Krav Maga every day or something. But when you know that you can pick up, hundreds of pounds easily and throw it around, it gives you a certain amount of confidence when walking through life that you can handle your own. And then, of course, there's a health aspect, man. I've got 4 little kids, dude, and I need to be around for a long time. So there's different components of it. So for me, it's a non-negotiable. And I get up every morning. It's the first thing I do. I don't start working or anything else yet. I like get mine out of the way, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And that's awesome because too. I feel the same way, man. Like, I'm like probably a 5-6 day a week trainer. Like, I lift as much as possible, and I hate taking days off. I just feel like a piece of me is missing if I don't get to the gym, and I feel like that type of energy and that type of focus, like it spills over into other areas of your life. When you're diligent in the gym and you're focused on what you're eating and you're treating your body right and you're putting nutrients in it and you're like, I track my macros every day. Like, I'm very anal about that type of stuff. And that, just that type of thing, when it comes to, like, I like to put weightlifting and business in the same category. And it could be school, it could be, promotions at your job. But if you're diligent enough to show up at the gym every day and work out, eat right, you get that pattern, man. You have that mentality. You have that confidence. You can go tackle anything you want. And that's what I love.
Yeah, plus you're taking care of the machine. This body, we have this machine that we got to do everything through. And when you're taking care of it and giving it the right stuff and training hard, I give my body plenty of the right stuff. It's not hard. My thing's not giving the right stuff. I give it too much of the right stuff, man. I've got huge appetite. That's a topic for a different day, man. But as long as you're putting in lots of good fuel and moving the body, man, taking care of the machine. And also, if you go in and squat 500 pounds in the morning, it's like everything else in the day is going to be kind of easy, man. Like what's life going to throw at you that was harder than fucking squatting that 500 pounds, that you did first thing in the morning. So
yeah, exactly. And it's still, it's so much. I'm good friends with Elliot Hall, so as you know, and like, he preaches a lot of the same stuff. It's just like, if it weren't for train, I did put training on the fact that while I even have my own business, while I even, have a nice place to live, like, it has shaped everything that I even do now. How I'm able to share my message with the world and interview cool people and share them with the world. Like, it's just insane that all that derived from, like, stepping foot in the gym. And when I stepped foot in the gym the first time, I had no idea what was going to happen, And that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's my church, man. I go down there and I'll just crank the tunes, man, and get in my own world, and just I love it. It brings me into the moment. Not thinking about my problems. Just get in there and hit it, man, and oh god. Yeah.
I'm actually just scanning through one of your old blog posts, just getting, cool questions, and I'm on the 37 ways to be a total badass. It's probably one of my favorite posts you've ever wrote.
Thank you.
And your number 14, never relent, is, like, life's always going to beat you down, always try to take what you have, own your mind, and tell you that you're good enough, but you just, I love that attitude with your writing. It's just like, keep moving forward. Don't say fuck you to everybody else. Don't worry about the bullshit, and just keep going on your own path. And I think more people need to hear that. Like it's okay to not to say fuck you, I guess.
Yeah, you for one, you got to be, if you want to achieve anything great, man, you've got to be crazy tenacious, because when you set out to do something, let's say I'll just use money as an example. So let's say you right now work at a job and make $20,000 a year, but you want to go start a business that allows you to make $200,000 a year. To get from where you are now to owning a business that does that $200,000 a year, or whatever your goal is, you actually have to become the person that owns a business that does $200,000 a year. You have to evolve to becoming a different person. You're still yourself, your personality, but a better version of you, one more suited to do that. And to do that, there's a molding process and an evolution process. So along the way to getting from where you are to over there, there's going to be all kinds of tests, challenges, hurdles, setbacks, and things. And when these come up, they're your chances to learn, to grow, to evolve, and to be molded into that person, right? Mm. To be molded into that character that can do that thing, that can have that business or whatever it is you want. Just like with getting into shape, if you don't have any muscle on you and you're overweight and completely weak and stuff like that, there's stuff you have to do to get over there. You have to become the person that does the things to get the body you want, if that's one of your goals. And there's a lot of stuff you have to do in the process. It probably has to do with changing, eating and exercising, and maybe changing sleep habits and all kinds of stuff like that. And some of that stuff can be a downright pain in the ass sometimes and a hassle, but it's a necessary part of the process. And some of it's painful, but it's how you become stronger. It's how you become more of the warrior version of yourself. So whenever we set out to do anything great, there's always going to be stuff that's going to get in the way, and that's when you have to decide: do I really want this thing, or am I just going to back down and go, jump back in with the status quo and go about pleasing others and not living my own life, man. So I'm a big believer in staying tenacious with your path. Flexible, like you got to be a little flexible and maybe, change the way you're doing something here and there, and maybe even set out on a little bit different of a course. Like as you go, hey, maybe I don't want this original goal. I want something else. So you kind of have to be flexible and things like that. But it's about never giving up, man, and never letting stuff, just whatever comes at you, just understand it's part of the process, man.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you say, you got to be flexible with your path. Like when I first started, even getting into online business and selling my passions. I originally, just like you met me, I was selling products on how to get strong to help BMXers become faster on their bikes, and that's my background. But now I've since kind of grown past that, and now it's helping guys live more of a GQ style lifestyle. So it's like crazy that I never would have looked back like 3 years ago and been like, oh, I'm going to be doing this, 3 years from now. But it's like, you got to be flexible, and it's like, man, this is fucking awesome. It's working. Cool. You
still got to show me how to ride a wheelie, though, man. I tell you, when I was a little kid, I think because of my long legs and short torso or something, I could never ride a wheelie. And I still, to this day, one of the most consistent dreams I have is I'm out there on a bike riding a wheelie.
Oh, I can teach you that, man.
Yeah, so you got the other dream I have is that I got long hair for some reason. I've always my whole life had these dreams where I got this long badass hair.
I don't know. Those are two interesting. I get to see you now, like a big dude on like a beach cruiser doing a wheelie down the street with like long flowing hair. Like out in California, just hanging out.
BMX Jesus. Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think about? I mean, Elliot always talks about it, and like I always listen to Elliot rant about it, and I think it's hilarious. But it's just like kind of like the feminization of society, and how kind of men are just not men anymore. And it's like, what's your take on that? Like, how do we fix that?
Yeah, well, you know what, man? I know that as men, we were supposed to go out and hunt something down, kill it, and drag it back to the cave, right? And I know in my own life, when I'm going after my goals is when I'm the happiest. It's not when I'm, seeking happiness or just it's not even after I brought the hunt the hunt back to the cave. It's not after I've accomplished something, right? So let's say I started doing business, and then I let's say it's a product launch, my first product launch. Yes, when I did it, I was very satisfied, but that satisfaction of the success only lasted for a few days. It was the thrill of the hunt that kept me going, and I think a lot of men, we've lost our thrill of the hunt because we've gone and gotten jobs that don't inspire us or that we're not passionate about, and we're not out chasing our dreams, chasing that thing that excites us. So that's one piece of the component for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think training has a lot to do with it too. More people need to lift weights, and I think it's getting. I thank CrossFit because they have made it a little more popular they've made it cool to actually touch a barbell. Even though I may not agree with CrossFit, but they have made it much cooler it's more socially acceptable to go in the gym and kind of beat your face down.
Yeah. When you go to a normal gym now, you got people doing all kinds of Olympic lifts and stuff. A lot of times with horrible form, unfortunately. But you see how that rolls over, and that's pretty cool. I think you and I differ on the one point is I don't know that anyone else should lift weights but me, right? I could give a shit if people lift weights or not. If they want to learn how to, then I've got posts that can help them, but not really. That's not really my area. The guy didn't go to guys like you, and I can refer them to other people who do. I want them to have access to the right information and to do it right. But at the end of the day, I know it's good for me.
Awesome. Who do you take? With your writing, and I'm urging people on this call to please check out his blog. I'll link to it below the video. But who inspires you to write? You reference Henry Rollins quite a bit. How do you get in the mood for this awesomeness to vomit out onto a page? And who inspires you to be a better person?
Well, my first story I wrote, man, I probably wasn't even 10 years old. And I wrote a story about killing my family and then going to court and killing the judge. And my mom found this story. Okay. And I then had to go to therapy, man, every week at Thursday after school. I hated it. And I just always wanted to write. I just didn't do it for a few decades, right? I didn't really get started until my mid 30s in it. But I've always loved to write. So inspiration to write for me is not a problem. I could sit down and write 10 hours a day, no problem. Matter of fact, anything else I'm doing is almost a pain in the ass because I want to get to writing. So if I got to get up and deal with my lawyer or taxes or emails or stuff, it's I just want to write. I just want to get through this thing so I can fucking write. I love the writing. But as inspiration, Henry Rollins, the way he told his story of Black Flag in the original book, Get in the Van, which is a great story. I also get inspired. I love the writings of Charles Bukowski. Was great stuff. I love the stories that Elmore Leonard told over the years. A lot of popular movies are based on Elmore Leonard stories, kind of his crime stories. But I also love Joe Rogan podcast. I think Joe is awesome. I love the way Mark Maron gets so real on his podcast, just like Elliot Holst does. I think James Altucher is a great writer and keeps it real honest, and it comes across real humble while he's teaching good stuff, and it's funny. I think he's by far one of the best online. I get inspiration. I get a lot of inspiration from the hero's journey, that model that kind of Joseph Campbell noticed what was going on. So I read all kinds of books about it, and I love the whole hero's journey model. I get inspired by the dialogue of Quentin Tarantino movies. That's another one. I get inspired by the comic Bill Hicks, the late great comic Bill Hicks and George Carlin. So I'm kind of all over the place with it, between fiction and personal development, comedians and screenwriters and stuff. But those would be some of probably the main guys.
Cool, man. Well, we've been going, we're about to hit 22, 23 minutes, and I don't want to take too much of your time just because I know most people's attention spans are short. And I know your time is valuable, and you'd probably rather be writing. But like I said, I mean, I just, for those listening, like his blog, chrismccombs.net. I mean, it's insanely good for just that kick in the ass that you may need for for whatever problem or life situation you're dealing with at the time. And that's why I just felt the need to get you on here and just have a little chat and tell the world that we need more men and stop being a pussy.
I love the way you put it. Hey, well, thanks for having me, brother. I know you're helping so many people all over the world doing all kinds of stuff, man, from getting in better shape and building more muscle and bringing out their inner warrior to getting girls or girlfriends and dressing better and, man, all kinds of shit. So it's it's an honor to be on the phone with you here today, my friend.
Cool, man. And like I said, for those listening, his blog, I've said it a bunch, but it's chrismccombs.net, and I'll put the links below this blog post or video, depending on where you're seeing it or, whatnot. And like I said, thanks a lot, Chris, for your time. Just hang on to the line before I hit stop here. But
Cool.
yeah, guys, thanks a lot for joining us. And if you got any questions or anything, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Talk to you guys later.